Hello, and welcome back to another one of these Carbonite Ultra U videos. This one is all about connecting the PivotSE to your Carbonite Ultra. With version 9 dashboard, the new PivotSE software, and version 4 of Ultra, we have a whole new workflow, and we're going to show it to you now. First thing we need to do in dashboard 9 is set up our new PivotSE plugin. We're going to go ahead, we're going to click on the plus. We're going to go to cameras, PTZ camera. You can pick from the drop down. For the other camera types, you do have to have licenses. The PivotCam SE is included with the camera. We need the IP address of our camera. I just happen to know what it is. And this is going to be PivotSE. And it automatically assigns the next available device slot. We click finish, and now our PivotSE shows up, and we can jump into and see our pivot camera. We've got the ability to now start storing presets, controlling the PTZ of the camera. And now we'll come here and I'll do a quick store of a preset, and we'll call this pivot non-SE for that. And now we'll come here and we will store there, and we store it. So I can see those. Now I can go to my recall. I can recall 0. I can recall 1. Where this now ties in with Ultra is when we head over to the config tab. So on the configuration tab, this is where we can set up our camera options. So ceiling mount, video modes, operation, so inverted joystick axes, all that stuff. You can turn on the on-screen menu. You can paint the camera. It's great. Where the workflow piece comes in is the gateway. Here we're going to block focus mode. I want the panel to control that, or you could pass it and then it'll allow the switcher to turn autofocus on and off. But we are going to enable the Visca gateway. So this is how we allow the switcher to use this gateway to then open up a connection to the camera. So as we can see, we disabled it, changed it to a different port, enabled it. We no longer have that error. That's a great example of where something else is currently using port 8001 and we'll need to open a different port. So now we're going to use 2567, and it was able to open that port. So let's head on over to our Carbonite Ultra panel. Setting up devices requires us to either use the virtual panel or the physical panel menu. Menu, system, next, device config, select. We're going to want to add a new device. We're going to go up to slot 5. It's going to be a camera type. We're going to go ahead and find our pivot camera in the subtype. Click next. Enter our IP address, so 10.0.1.2.48. And now we need to do our port, which we did 2567. You'll notice you have no other options. You click next, you're back. So now we hit select, confirm that device. We have to associate it with our pivot camera. Hit the menu, config, input, and now we're going to scroll our input knob until we find our PivotSE. I'm going to hit next till I have the device. I'm going to click select, and I'm going to find slot 5 pivot cam. And when I hit next, I have options. So this will be channel 1 because it's camera 1, but also because in this case, each pivot I would be creating a separate one of those instances and assigning it its own individual port. So camera 2, I would have gone 2568. Invert pan. This is in reference to how you're feeling the switcher control from the knob. It's up to you. Same thing with tilt. These are your parameters that you're more comfortable with. Click select and confirm that assignment. And then of course we can see which device in which slot. we now have associated. We have our live assist. If we come down, we select the PivotSE. It's going to go to the menu, pan, tilt, zoom, shot store, shot recall. We can do all of that from right here. If I go to my positioner and I move my positioner, we've got all of that happening inside of our camera. One more bonus feature, similar to what we've done with expression, and let's add the camera panel right here. We're going to go menu, configuration, live assist. We're going to go ahead and put PivotSE, all connections, pivot. There's our pivot. And we want the remote control. So it's going to go ahead, rebuild. We haven't finished because we forgot to go to input side, go to the PivotSE, and tell it to follow that device. Go back to live assist, hit that PivotSE, and there you go. Now your pivot control panel also shows up right inside of here. So again, having it recall those presets right from inside of the GUI. You've got the soft PTZ, but of course, if you're on your physical panel, you have that physical joystick. As you can see, setting up your pivot camera is pretty straightforward. There is that new step we've added for workflow purposes, but it's awesome because now you have that dashboard control interface, that beautiful GUI built right into your live assist menu. And when you're running from the physical panel, those two pieces are interacting. So we really do hope that you find this intuitive and fun to use. Don't forget, you can build custom controls that also recall those presets. That's why we have the gateway. By recalling the shot through the device interface, that will send it to the dashboard panel, which then sends it on to the pivot camera. Well, thanks for watching this video. As always, don't forget to send us comments, requests, questions to switchers@rossvideo.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.